Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new to my channel, which a lot of you are because I hit 100 subscribers recently, which is yay, I'm so excited. Welcome to the channel. On this channel we review books and talk about books. This week I actually have a book review about the book that I read in September. If you don't know, I assign myself a book to read as well as my viewers. If they aren't part of a book club, they can read it with me, and I link it down below. A book to read with me in each month. That way we can read at least a book every month this year. This month's was If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. If you see me looking down, it's because I have some notes for myself that I took. There's not many, but I have some notes that I took. That way I can hit the points that I want to hit about this book. Something new that I'm going to do, and what I did is that I actually looked up reviews by other people to compare to my review of the book as well. A little bit about the book first is If He Had Been With Me is about two kids, Autumn, our female main character, and Phineas, our male main character, I would say. He's more of like the sidekick of Autumn, but they have grown up together their entire lives. They live next door to each other, and their moms are best friends. They've always known each other. They've had sleepovers growing up until they were too old to have a sleepover. And of course, in all of those situations, both the moms hope and pray that they end up together, but it's not always the case. This story takes place very much so in the 4 years of high school. This book is very sad. It's the typical best friends to lover trope that you see. That's very big on book talk. Honestly, a growing thing on booktube as well, but the difference of this book that I will say is that usually they're pretty lighthearted. This one's very dark. Let's talk about what other people thought about the book first, and then we'll dive into what I thought about the book. So on Goodreads, which is one of the largest book reviewing sites, I believe it's tied to Amazon, I could be wrong, but what do I know? Goodreads, that's where I read a lot of reviews about books before buying them. It actually only has a 3.8 out of 5 on there. Some of those repetitive phrases that I saw throughout the book reviews that I read was that it's an easy to read book, it's predictable, but it is, like I said, a dark read and heart-wrenching. So it's definitely an easy to read book. I agree with that. I kind of said this in one of my past vlogs while I was reading it. I very much so think it was written in the point of view of what a high schooler would write a book about, and that's Autumn is a high schooler, and it's in Autumn's point of view. So it's very much so written in as if Autumn was talking to us personally. I don't think that people kind of caught on to that. I think they just thought, it's an adult book. It should be written as if an adult is writing it, but we are talking to a girl that we watch age from, 12 until 18? So you would expect dialogue to be a little easier to read. Dramatic in some aspects about things that definitely aren't something that you should be worrying about as an adult, and things that you'll see as an adult that you're like, why did I ever worry about that? I mean, in high school, the things that I saw as the worst things in the world were definitely not the worst things in the world. And now I look at that and I think it's so silly that I even blew that out of proportion. Very much so the voice of our lead character here, Autumn. Now, something that I personally didn't necessarily like about Autumn, or the representation of Autumn, is that you really don't get to know her. You don't get to learn her personality. It's very much so always about who she's around, so her friend group or her boyfriend at the time. it's never really truly about Autumn and who she is as a person. She's very much so whoever she's around, and I wish there was a little bit more in depth about Autumn. They always say she was the weird kid. She was always the weird kid. That's pretty much all you know, is that she's weird. This is post-video, post-editing, Emily, same day. I just finished editing the video for the book review, but I was on Amazon adding some books into my cart, and I found out that there's an opposite POV book for Phineas, for little Finny, called If Only I Told Her. I added that into my cart because I am curious. I've only ever read one opposite point of view book, and it was 4 for the Divergent series. So this is nice. I added that into my cart because I am curious to see that perspective, because like I said in my book review, there was a lot of holes in the sense of like who Phineas was and who Autumn was. So I'm curious if that answers a lot of questions on the fact of who Phineas was and what his point of view was. Because most friends to lover trope books tend to have both point of views at some point. Unless it's like really focused on the character's development, like the main character's development, but we really didn't get to know her personality. So I do want to read this book. So I did order that book, and I will be reading it. I'm going to link it into my link tree so that you guys can read it with me as well, or if you're curious to read that. I didn't know there was an opposite perspective book until I opened my Amazon app and it was like, hey, what about this one? Just in my face, and I was like, I didn't even know about it. But yeah, I'll link that in my link tree for you guys to look at as well. Compared to Phineas. Now, Autumn is your alternative, very much so notice me girl, and she's part of that friend group in high school. Not to put labels, but I would probably label them your stereotypical like emo punk group, like you don't understand me alternative posse in a high school. And then you have Phineas, who Autumn calls Finny. He is your stereotypical jock, blonde hair, tall. Something that's different about Finny, though, is that he's pretty quiet and he's a kind guy. When you think about jocks, you think mean. His girlfriend, Sylvie, she's pretty mean towards people, but I believe in actuality, she's just nervous that her boyfriend likes another girl the whole time. What boy has a girl best friend and what girl has a boy best friend? That there isn't something going on, right? Or at least in books. There's never a time where you have a boy best friend or a girl best friend and they're just friends, ever. Not only a 3.8 out of 5 on Goodreads, but a 3 out of 5 on Common Sense Media, whereas that's where I tend to go for my other book reviews as well, for other people's perspectives on the book. Very similar takes on it, easy to read, predictable. This book, like I said, is dark. A lot of people read this book and they didn't enjoy it because if you're extremely empathetic, you're going to have a hard time reading this book. There's really nothing good going on for Autumn the entire book. Her current boyfriend breaks up with her. She's trying too hard to appease her friend. She completely loses her friend group. In the beginning of the book, her and Phineas aren't even friends anymore because they're in 2 different groups for high school, and Autumn cares too much about appeasing her new friend group to really pay attention to Phineas. And even though Finny goes out of his way to kind of communicate with her and be with her and talk to her, we learn that Phineas has always had a crush on Autumn. And Autumn likes Phineas, but she cares too much what people think about her. She's actually wears a tiara the entire time she's in high school, which I'm sure that has some sort of meaning to it. Personally, I think it was more of a she wanted the attention on her. A lot of lack of attention from her mom and her dad at home. that she kind of craved it from other people. Probably growing up, she didn't have that attention either. Her parents actually end up divorcing in it, and her mom has mental health issues. So I think there's a little bit of like a detachment there that she tries to find it at school, or tries to just find a way to make her friend group think that she does not care about Phineas, or being friends with Phineas, or seeming like that group at school. Phineas and her, it's a slow burner, genuinely. This book reminds me of when I was younger and I would read Wattpad books, and it was very easy to understand, and I would get giddy about those books, but those books were all about Harry Styles, and I thought it was me and Harry Styles. So take that as you will. I agree. I would give this book probably closer to a Goodreads rating, a 3.8 out of 5. I think it's a very easy read. It's a dark read, so if you don't do well with not happy endings, I don't think you should read this book. I think it might send you into turmoil and you might need therapy. But they don't hide anything from you. Straight from the beginning, they're at a car accident scene. First page is about Phineas and his girlfriend Sylvie Whitehouse. Very first page of the book, chapter 1. They're at an accident scene involving Phineas and Sylvie. Honestly, the ending is really sad for Phineas, but I don't really understand the very, very end of the book, like why that was necessary. There was a lot of teenage pregnancy going on in this book. We're having a guest. Hi, guest. Hi, guest friend. Are you gonna come lay with me? Oh, that was a big stretch. Oh, and a flop. It was excessive. I don't think this much happens to one person, and I could be totally wrong. And if this has ever happened to you, where all of these things happen to you or around you all the time, please let me know, because I think you deserve a reality TV show, to be honest, because your life is, like I said, there's always something bad happening. I mean, her boyfriend cheats on her with her best friend. And then her other friend gets pregnant and then has the baby. And then her parents get a divorce, and then she gets diagnosed with depression. And yeah, there's a lot going on. I say read it. I think it's a good read. I think everybody should read it. It only took me 3 days to read it, and it's, how many pages? 389 pages long. So it's not that long of a book, but I do think it is a must read, as I would call it. I think you should read it if you have the mental stability to read it, like I said, and I cannot stress this enough. If you struggle with sad things, or if you have trauma mixed around anything that is sad, depression, divorce, teenage pregnancy, I mean, there's a lot of things that happen in this book that I think could be a trigger to some people, that I would say don't read it. Very similar to the same aspects of like 13 Reasons Why. You see where I'm getting at? So it's a pretty dark book. That's all I really have to say about it. You should read it if you have the mental stability to read it. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. If you enjoyed this book review and want another one, I have this book linked in my link tree down below to get it on Amazon. I believe it's on sale right now, actually, so now would be a really good time to get it. I will also link next month's book, which I think is going to be The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I'm unsure because I want to read like a little murder mystery book for October, but I did just order some new books that I showed in my last vlog that I really want to read. I'll do a poll on my YouTube channel and putting some, like, I'll put 3 options of books that I haven't read that are on my shelf right now. And you can choose what book I read in October. I think our options are going to be Safe Harbor by Kay Cinco, The Guest List by Lucy Foley, or The Edge of Falling by Rebecca Serrell. Let me know which one of those you want me to read. But other than that, that's all I really have for you. Thanks for watching this all the way through. If you are enjoying the book reviews and vlogs, make sure to subscribe to the channel to see more content. Put the notification on to know when I post, because I do post shorts throughout the week as well. And yeah, give this video a like and comment what you thought about If He Had Been With Me, or if there's any books that made you sad, or maybe even your favorite best friends to lovers trope book. I'm very interested in reading maybe some more of those. I will let you go. I will see you next week with another video. Bye.